Greetings, adventurers. Welcome to part 3 of the Incinerate Sorcerer, dealing with the level 50 capstone in Season 1 of Diablo 4. The other two videos, the actual boss kill and then the full capstone dungeon run, will be in the description below. If you haven't seen those, go check those out. This video specifically will be doing a little rundown of the build I was using. I do want to place an asterisk here because I am in no way claiming this to be the best sorcerer build. This is just what I came up with myself. I have had fun playing it so far and I wanted to share it with you. Speaking of, I just wanted to also share my plan for this whole series going forward. I for sure plan to kill Elias with this sorcerer and also make a set of videos about that. But I also want to do it with other classes. I kind of want to go through, make my own builds, share them with you, and share how they do. It's not going to be anything super serious. I may do some Uber Lilith attempts and the new Malignant Heart boss. But for now, it's just going to be chill, sharing some fun builds, and not going to try hard. So if that's something you can get behind and that's something you want to see, I would much appreciate if you subscribed so you catch those videos when they come out. But let's get back to the point of this video. So first I'm going to run down the talents I was using, and then I'll give a little bit of a breakdown of the gear I had. So in this build, it is a Incinerate Meteor build. The idea behind it is it's primarily a lucky hit build, centered around the Meteor enchantment, which has lucky hit, chance to have a meteor fall on my enemies. If you notice, I don't actually have meteor on my bar. That's because I don't click meteor. I just want it to have a chance to fall. Instead, I have Firebolt as my main builder, Incinerate as my main spender, Hydra as kind of like a filler. It does do decent amount of damage, but I mostly want it for A, it being a pyromancy skill, and B, it hits a lot. It does have a low base lucky hit chance, but it hits a lot. Speaking of, for those who don't know, how lucky hit works is skills have a baseline lucky hit chance. For example, Incinerate has a baseline... Thank you, Poppers. Incinerate has a baseline, I think it's 18% chance. It's either 16 or 18% chance to lucky hit. That means if you combine it with the baseline 10% chance for the lucky hit effect of the Meteor enchant to go off, without any gear, I would have a 26 roughly percent chance for Incinerate every time it deals damage to have a meteor fall on my enemies. The goal of this build is to get that to around 100%, so every single tick of Incinerate sends down a meteor. But right now, it's in its infancy. But yeah, that is how lucky hit works. It's very important to understand what this build is meant to do. So as I said, Firebolt, Incinerate, Hydra, and then we're running 2 defensives and an ultimate. We have Ice Armor, and we have Flame Shield. Flame Shield is more obvious. It's a pyromancy skill. It does burn damage, and it makes us immune when we cast it. Ice Armor, the reason I chose this over Teleport is mainly for the mana regeneration, and barriers are going to be very important for this build. I have a couple things that scale off of me having a barrier. For example, later on, I will have a chance to get a stat that gives me increased lucky hit when I have a barrier. In fact, that's even on one of the aspects I was running for this dungeon, and will be running for the final version of this build. But also, with one of the new Malignant Hearts, the Season 1 mechanic, one of them will heal you while you have a barrier, and it increases barrier generation. So not only does Ice Armor give me barrier, but I'm also running the talent that whenever I use a cooldown, I get a 30% barrier, 30% max HP barrier. So barriers galore is big with this build. And then for my ultimate, I'm running Inferno, obviously, Pyromancy skill, but also the Supreme Inferno buff that Inferno gets allows me to basically not spend mana, which is big with this build, because right now we are running the Hydra enchant. I don't know if I'm going to keep it, but for now we're running the Hydra enchant, which when we spend mana, we have, after a certain amount of mana we spend, 200 I believe, I spawn a Hydra. Now I've found that when you have Inferno procced and you are not using your mana bar, it still works for that enchantment. So we're basically getting free mana spent towards summoning a 5-headed Hydra. In this particular capstone, I was running part of the aspects that I want to run in the endgame. First of all, I was running the Barriers Give Lucky Hit. That is also a stat that you can get on gear, but it is also a defensive legendary aspect. So I was running that. I was also running Standing Still increases your damage, because while you're channeling Incinerate, you're standing still. So it's just free damage. Speaking of channeling Incinerate, I was also using the aspect that increases my burn damage while I was channeling Incinerate, which is pretty big because Incinerate itself is burn damage. It is not direct damage. It cannot crit, but it directly scales 1-to-1 with fire damage and burn damage, which is big. That puppy is going to be hitting pretty hard late game. The final important aspect that I was running is a resource regen. The big idea around this build is I'm going to channel Incinerate as long as I can, and hopefully infinitely, with my lucky hit stuff later on. But right now I can't do that, but it helps when my enemies are burning and they have a like 12% chance to give me 10 mana back. It's great, and that was the aspect I was running on one of my rings. It's a resource aspect. As for Malignant Hearts, I was running the heart that cycles through stats. The one where every 20 kills you get a new set of stats. The first one is attack speed, which helps with the Hydra, and I think also makes Incinerate tick faster. That is what I read on the internet, and the internet surely does not lie. So for now, I am operating under the understanding that Incinerate ticks faster when you have attack speed. I haven't seen that it doesn't, but I also haven't really been paying attention. I probably should, if it does. The second stat it gives is a chance to fully restore my mana bar, which is absolutely huge with this build. Like I said, I want to be channeling as long as possible. So, I mean, you could put 2 and 2 together. And finally, random barriers. Like I said, barriers are important. Increased lucky hit chance means more meteors means more damage. that was the only heart that I was running that I planned to run late game. I was also running the heart that gives you increased damage based on how many elements are affecting a target. Since I have purely fire, I would only be doing it 1 element worth of that increased damage, but 11% increased damage is 11% increased damage. And that's it in terms of what I was running in the capstone. I will be doing an Elias video, the level 70 capstone to get into World Tier 4. And there I will probably have the build mostly complete. And that's when I will talk more about it. So if you want to see this build grow and you want to see my progression, then I encourage you to subscribe so you don't miss that video. And I thank you for at least watching this video this far. If you've watched all 3, thank you. You are a saint. I hope you enjoyed. I hope to keep making this content. I am a newer creator. I would love feedback in the comments. Trying to run this on my own. I'm not too technically inclined. So any tips you have, I would be welcome to absorb that knowledge. Give me all of your knowledge. Maybe not all of it. Mostly what I just asked for. That'd be great. But hey, if you want to chat in the comments, I'd love to chat. I ain't got anything better to do. I'm playing Diablo. So again, thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please consider liking and subscribing. This is Cynical. I thank you for coming on this adventure with me. And now, I am signing off. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Happy trails.